How you doing? It's the Captain here from the Lucky Jack, and there's some breaking news today about BTS. BTS is one of the biggest boy bands in the world. It's actually one of the biggest bands in the world. They are gigantic. These 7 guys, they are much bigger than people realise, and not a lot of people in the West actually know who they are and what they are. But anyway, it seems BTS are taking a break to pursue solo projects. This is mostly to the Asian world. This is like the Beatles breaking up. They are that big. So the BTS will be pressing pause to pursue solo projects. Oh, that old chestnut. The K-pop group announced on Tuesday. The massively popular, that's an understatement, made the announcement in a video during their Festa dinner celebrating the band's 9th anniversary. That's the thing, in K-pop music, 9 years, to be in a band for 9 years is a long time. The group consists of artists RM, Jin, V, J-Hope, Suga, Jimin and Jungkook. We're going into a hiatus now, Suga said. However, a representative for the group told CNN to be clear they are not on hiatus, but will take time to explore some solo projects at this time and remain active in various different formats. So he says we're going into a hiatus, and they say they're not going on to hiatus. The problem with K-pop and the whole idol system is they don't give you time to mature. This is from RM, he's the leader. You have to keep producing music and keep doing something. And after I got up in the morning and get makeup done, there's no time left for growth, group member RM said. That's this guy. In the past, I could still balance working on music alone and doing our group promotions, but now I can't do them together. It's impossible. It just won't work. I can't be doing group stuff and then suddenly turning the focus to my own work like flipping a switch. RM continued. I realised I needed time on my own. I think the repercussions of this is going to be quite big. He added that he realised BTS has changed during the COVID-19 pandemic when they released hit singles like Dynamite, Butter and Permission to Dance. Yeah, that one was huge. I think 90% of our fans would root for us no matter what kind of music or direction we choose, V said. J-Hope told me this before. We could focus on our solo work this time, and later when we gather again as a group, that synergy will be like no other. So they do have the intention of coming back into a group, and they behave differently from perhaps Western bands do. Western bands would say we're going on to hiatus now, really meaning that they've broken up. But I think K-pop bands act slightly differently than this. We can't help but think of our fans no matter what. I think now, finally, we've come to think about what kind of artists we want to be remembered by our fans. Well, that kind of sounds pretty terminal. I think that's why we're going through a pretty rough patch right now. Again, that's not good. We're trying to find our identity, and that's an exhausting and long process, Jimin added. This is Jimin. I think the change is what we need right now, J-Hope said. It's important for BTS to start our 2nd chapter. So this is a sort of push towards it continuing. The group's worldwide recognition grew in 2018 with their albums Love Yourself, Answer and Love Yourself, Tear. They've also had giant hits through successful collaborations with Coldplay, Halsey, Ed Sheeran and other artists. During an interview in 2020 with CNN, J-Hope described the group's approach to their careers. We don't try to set our standards to define success, because if you set those standards, it's very tiring physically and mentally to reach those goals, J-Hope said. Instead, just trying hard at what we do in our lives and emotions and staying true to that. And this eventually leads to a lot of success. That's what I'm trying to do. And by doing that, trying to stay true to ourselves. BTS and their army of fans in the UN General Assembly. They've made presentations to the American president as well. BTS has frequently been compared to the Beatles, even breaking one of the English rock band's records with 3 Billboard #1 albums in a single year. The devoted fan base calls themselves BTS Army, propelling their music and coming to their defense on social media in 2019 when the group was shut out from Grammy nominations. They've been nominated for 2 Grammy Awards for the Best Pop Duo Performance. Yeah, it's interesting. So looking at the BBC News in relation to this, it's saying the BTS hiatus is not as severe as One Direction, which was basically them just breaking up. This is in their Dynamite outfits, I think. Pop fans might feel they've been here before. Yeah. The biggest boy band in the world. I think they're actually the biggest band in the world in terms of sales. Anyway, we'll have to look that up. Announced they're going on hiatus. Anyone who remembers One Direction's decision in January 2016 might have feared the worst when BTS said it was time to take a break. Indeed. But things work a little differently in the K-pop world than they do for Western bands, as entertainment journalist and BTS superfan Lucy Ford explains. In K-pop, it's really not uncommon for groups that have 7, 8 or 9 members, for the individuals in that group to have thriving solo careers. Yeah, you could look at Girls' Generation for an example of that, but still very much be in their own groups, she tells Radio 1 Newsbeat. And this might explain why, shortly after news broke of BTS plans, its management stepped in to say it's not a hiatus. Yeah, I bet they did. At least not as fans in the West might think. Here we have One Direction. Many of us experienced One Direction. We experienced NSYNC, both who are all still on hiatus. Yeah, that's one long hiatus, Lucy adds. I think they just wanted to clarify that it's not as severe as that. BTS's management had good reason to comment. After the news went public, its estimated shares in the company dropped so much it wiped out $1.8 billion of its worth. Wow, they're worth $1.8 billion. This should come as some comfort to 22-year-old Naomi Cairns, who says she was shocked and upset when she first heard the news. Not sure that's going to help her. Naomi's dad broke the news. I couldn't actually believe what I was reading, she tells Newsbeat. No, it's somewhat strange. Her friends threw her a BTS-themed party, nice, and had cutouts of our faces hanging in their bedroom. In the group's statement, which was made during a televised dinner to mark their anniversary, BTS acknowledged they'd been going through a rough patch and said that trying to find their identity had been exhausting. It's massively rare for a K-pop group who are very tightly managed to portray a certain image to fans to speak openly about the pressures of the global pop career. In many ways, across their career, BTS have been the sort of industry leaders, she says. She believes speaking honestly shows the group's bravery, but also their power in the K-pop scene. They are the biggest group, and they make the most money. And look how professionally they are presented. This is at the White House in Washington. Can you imagine NSYNC looking this sharp, looking this professional? This is really excellent work. Earlier this year, BTS spoke at the White House about the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes following the COVID-19 pandemic, and they look very professional. 7 members of BTS, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V and Jungkook, all aged between 24 and 29, and Lucy says one of the key points made in the announcement was that the K-pop industry doesn't really create space for maturity. In South Korea, all men must serve in the military for about 20 months. Between the ages of 18 and 28, and BTS is between 24 and 29. In 2020, special exemptions were made for them to delay their service until they're 30. Yeah, this serving in the military is not quite what I think people think it is. It's not 20 months on the front line fighting in a war. It's not 20 months in the barracks learning how to polish shoes and make your bed and learn how to shoot and marching and drill. There's so many things you can do. I've heard of people serving in the military working in a radio station and working in a hospital. So this is slightly different. But members of BTS have already been releasing solo material. J-Hope, Suga and RM have released solo mixtapes of original material. Suga just released or was collaborating with Psy on who made the Gangnam Style video. So he's been doing stuff with other people. Jimin contributed music to soundtracks. Earlier this year, Jungkook released solo track Stay Alive, produced by Suga. It's been streamed more than 150 million times on Spotify. Lucy says all 7 members of the group have a lot to offer as solo artists. Jungkook could go on to a career that rivals some of the biggest names in pop. He's got an amazing voice. I mean, they've all got massive training behind them. They've got massive experience behind them. They've got professionalism behind them. They've got a fan base behind them. They've got money behind them. They've got pretty much everything you need to be anything you like. So will they come back? I think they will. I don't think it will be soon. I think it's going to be a good couple of years before BTS are back in Wembley Arena and Madison Square Gardens and on the Today Show. But we shall see. A huge group, absolutely huge group, and loads of people in the West don't even know who they are. Okay, well that's all we have today. I'm going to chat to you guys later. All right, don't forget, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thanks very much.